National Advisor based at National Office for the Cancer Society, and it's my great pleasure to have the honour of hosting this last session of the day. So we're nearly there, folks. You've been absolutely sterling, hanging in there all the way, because it's been a pretty full-on day, lots to get your head around. And hopefully this last session will, in a sense, pull some of the bits together and send you out with, if you needed it, a bit of more of a challenge as to where to from here and what can you do and how does it fit in with where you're working and the jobs that you have. So up first, we have the dynamic duo, and I'm not sure which one's Batman and which one's Robin, but the dark night shall rise. So we have Steve Kenny, who I don't think I really need to worry about introducing again, and also John McBeth, who are going to be talking to us about men's health and the work that they're doing. For those of you who don't know John, there might be one or two of you in the audience who might not know John. John's got a long history, about 40 years, dare I say it, in broadcasting. So he's an old pro. So we'll have to watch him once he gets behind the mic. He might start racing away with some ongoing commentary. So we'll keep our tabs on him. But he's had 40 years in the broadcasting industry. And John first got involved with the Cancer Society, actually way back in about 2009, I think it was, when we first started looking at men's health and we set up the Men's Health Challenge. And John was brought on board as a bit of a PR pro and our kind of front person to try and help us get some of that work off the ground. And he's subsequently been now more actively involved in men's health, particularly as far as being our Movember ambassador, and I'm sure he'll tell you a wee bit more about that. So, I don't know who's coming up first, Steve or John? Batman. Robin. The trusty sidekick.
Thank you, Sarah, and 40 years, why did you say that? Oh, that's so, oh gosh, I'm tired already. First of all, I'd just like to say that I'm very sorry that I'm not a Maori or Pacifica, because otherwise I would be taking part in the USO Bike Challenge, riding the length of the country, you know, but just sadly, and I would love to be doing it. So, you know, Chris, my apologies. Look, you know, you've heard all the messages, you know, I'm preaching to the converted here, I suppose, but we often say that, you know, the men's health doesn't get the attention that it deserves, that women get much more attention than the blokes do. But as we often say, and the statistics show, we are beating the women hands down, and we love it. The guys, when we talk to blokes out in the workplace, we just say to them, listen, you're leading the way. You're beating the women in diagnosis of cancer. More of you die from cancer. More of us eat the wrong stuff, drink the wrong stuff. We don't exercise, all those sorts of things. And it's really great, and the guys sit there so proud about this until you sort of explain it to them, because, as you know, talking to guys, they do need things really explained properly to them. So we get on to the fact that not many men like to talk about what's wrong with them. And we're finding, actually, and I think women are finding too, that men are slightly different in a lot of regards. And we don't sit in coffee groups and eventually talk about our health. We don't even stand around having a beer and talking about our health. Or, one beer, sorry, keep within that limit. So there are differences there for blokes. But what we are finding now is that we are talking. It's evident out in the workplace and in what Chris and the guys are doing, and Dr. Reid will be finding as well, that blokes are talking a bit more about it. And one of the reasons is the promotion that it gets through things such as the USO Bike Challenge and others, and what you people are doing out in the community with guys, and Movember. Movember is, it's one of the worst things that happen, really. You know, young guys love it. They grow moustaches and they wander around bragging because they've got a moustache. They sometimes realise that they should be raising money for prostate cancer, but some of them don't. In fact, we reckon that about 75% of the guys who grow moustaches don't even know why they're doing it and don't raise any money for it. But they are talking. And they're talking amongst themselves with other mow growers, and they say, oh, you're growing a mow. What are you growing that for? Oh, prostate cancer. Oh, so how do you raise money? So they go through the whole thing. But the other key element to it now we're finding is that the young guys are talking to their fathers about it, and their grandfathers and their uncles. And this is working fantastically well. Movember might be the worst thing that you do, particularly for guys like me who can only grow a white moustache and it takes forever to get it, and people criticise and laugh at me and say, you know, there's something wrong with you, you can't grow a moustache. But we are getting that message through. And of course it's particularly difficult for women because, well, a lot of you don't like growing moustaches. And also a lot of you don't like your partners growing moustaches. And in fact, we know a lot of guys are told, don't grow a moustache for Movember. You can support it any way you like, but don't grow a moustache. But the key to it really is that this November is a month of Movember. It is a month of raising money, young guys having a good time growing a moustache, older guys being forced to do so, raising money for prostate cancer, but also getting blokes to talk to their fathers. And in Movember this year, the whole emphasis will be on sons and fathers. And I think that'll work fantastically well. So I'll just give you a wee bit of a background about Movember because even though it's in the news a lot and we get a lot of publicity out of it, it started back in Melbourne a few years ago with half a dozen guys sitting around wondering what they could do for men's health. Let's grow a moustache in November, call it Movember. They generated a few $1,000s. Last year, $150 million was raised worldwide. $52 million in Canada, $38 million in the UK, and $38 million in Australia. Here in New Zealand, we're one of 16 countries which are officially Movember participants. We raised $1.4 million. Now, originally this money went to the Prostate Cancer Foundation, but after their term finished, it is now the Movember came to the Cancer Society of New Zealand and the Mental Health Foundation, and we now split the money that is raised 50-50. And it has moved a long way from prostate cancer awareness to concentrating on prostate cancer survivorship. So they really moved a big step forward. And because Movember itself provides a massive amount of prostate cancer awareness anyway. Now, I've just completed the funding process for this year. This is an example of what we're doing with the money through the Cancer Society. Remember, the Mental Health Foundation are doing their own thing. The 0800 Cancer Information Helpline, which is regularly put up here on the screen, which is such a fantastic resource. We've found through some evaluation a couple of years ago that while it's a great resource, only 22% of the callers are men and only 7% are Maori. So clearly there's a big gap. And what we're using a lot of the money for this time will be to enhance the tool itself, but also to put up a magnificent promotional campaign, which will encourage men to get on board and their families to ring this 0800 Cancer Helpline number. Dr. Reid reminded us there's still uncertainty, of course, about testing for prostate cancer, and it's one of the problems, I suppose, with CA prostate. But of that $150 million that I mentioned is raised, most of it will go to prostate cancer research. And there's a great coordination, collaboration now between the countries, Canada and the USA and Australia and the UK in particular, about research. So no one's doubling up, which was in fact the case. Now, hopefully, with that amount of money and that amount of resource going into it, there will eventually and hopefully soon be some definite results coming out about a prostate cancer test. So we in New Zealand are doing research as well. There's a prostate cancer research that we're funding, and that is headed by Dr. Bill Jordan, and that's the protein markers to determine which patients require treatment. That's a 3-year research. We're also instigating this year prostate cancer young investigator scholarships, 2 of them, to the tune of about $150,000. So that will be ongoing. So all those resources, all that information and the research will come back, of course, to help in this regard. In some of the areas, what we're introducing is a prostate cancer survivor ambassador role. And this came about really from a visit to Ashburton recently, where they have prominent sports person in Ashburton who at age 50 was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and he has spent a lot of his time, as so many volunteers do, going out and talking to groups about prostate cancer and how he's dealt with it, how his family's dealt with it, and so on. And I thought this is something that needs some assistance. So we're looking at initiating that sort of role eventually throughout the country, particularly in the smaller areas. And there's another program in Otago Southland which will be funding, A Bridge to Health. And we've found too, before I throw over to my co-host here, construction companies in Christchurch. We've been down to speak to 2 or 3 of them recently, and we find, and I know you find too when you're out talking to groups, that blokes tend to enjoy a little bit of humour, and if you can have some humour and sport involved, you tend to get a bigger uptake of those going along. Rather than 5 blokes coming along during a lunch hour and eating their sandwiches, you might get 50 guys coming along because they know it's going to be a bit light-hearted, but also getting the messages out there. And the construction companies in Christchurch have, since the feedback has been, we want to do this nationally. So once you get in, as you know, once you get into a group and hook them, then clearly we're able to get the messages out to more of them. So that's more of what we're doing within the Cancer Society and with the Mental Health Foundation as well. I went to a Gisborne breakfast during Men's Health Week, and this came about incidentally from meeting with a group of guys in Gisborne, and they said they know there's a lot of promotion and a lot of work being done by the various health organisations, but they were so annoyed and disturbed and frustrated by the fact that no results seemed to be happening. Still the same number of Maori men were diagnosed with cancer. Still the same number of Maori men in particular not doing the right thing with their diet and fitness and so on. In discussions, we just pushed it their way and said, if you're so keen about it, do something about it. And so they did. They organised several functions during Men's Health Week in June in Gisborne. And we started with a breakfast at the fishing club there. And it was quite difficult, because we did put breakfast on for them. They paid $10, I think, to go along, and it included breakfast. And then I had to stand up and talk about, you know, the statistics show that we're drinking too much, the wrong stuff, it gives you a big gut, we're smoking too much, and our diet's not the best. But I say, you know, it doesn't mention a pie or a hamburger, but you can have a pie and a hamburger every now and then. And also I said you can have a breakfast like what you're having here, because some of the plates, bacon and eggs and baked beans and the lot was piled on there, you know. And but it's, you know, getting that message out. And they all laughed and they realised what the situation was. They'd paid for it, so they were going to get the most of it. As I say, the buffet is a killer, isn't it? Absolutely. I think there are some questions that we all know about how do we follow up on these sorts of things. Men's Health Week comes and goes, and what do they do about it later? So that's where what Chris and the team are doing is very important. And it's also an important part of what Movember fund, or helps to fund too, is a new website called, or an enhanced website called Get the Tools. And this is a tool which Steve Kenny has had his hands on right from the start. And it is one that I'm sure you, if you don't know about it yet, you'll certainly know about it and you'll use it, because it's available to everyone, and it's something that in the prostate cancer and cancer in general and health in general survivor and messages, it's an absolutely vital tool and will be over the next few years. So Steve, you're ready to go? Yep. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, John. All right, here's, right, is this the pointer? Right. All right, this is my magic mouse, and I just clicked on the icon there, and it's going to take us to our website, getthetools.org.nz, and discussing the nuts and bolts of Men's Health. Do you get it? The nuts and bolts of Men's Health? Eh? Discussing, you know. Anyway, if you didn't quite get that, and our website's full of humour. It's we've moved away from our previous Get the Tools website, which was absolutely awesome. It was aimed with a lot of health promotion messages in it. But it needed them to be a lot more comprehensive, and we've had some study groups, and we actually used the Cowan family as to review our website. And Braywin, how many of the family members responded to the survey? It's about 60 or 70 members of their family responded, feedback on our website, and so we had a lot of feedback. One of the things in which our last website didn't really cater for was that men's health is to do with women, is to do with our children, is to do with our workplace, is to do with our community, and it's to do with ourselves. So instead of just having the one website based on the workplace, we thought what we would do is we'd get all of the tools and to create a different toolbox for it. But before, and I actually go through all of the toolboxes that we have, I'll just play this little video clip of Brendan and John just introducing the website.
Hey, congratulations, you're on the website, so you're one step closer to revving up your health.
Of course, like us, you're all streamlined and top-of-the-range Kiwi number 8 wire blokes already.
Some of us a little bit more streamlined than others, Johnny.
This is the Iron Man, of course. It doesn't mean to say, though, that you can't take some significant steps towards a healthier you.
Or you.
Or all of us, really, because this website is designed with Kiwi blokes in mind. So whether you're a young buck
or an old fart,
take a look and check out the excellent tips.
And if you want more info, check out the links and resources. They're all on the website.
Or you could simply go to Contact Us, because that will lead you directly through to your local Cancer Society. And mark my words, they are great Kiwi blokes.
And blokesses.
So take your time and have a good look.
And good health.
All right, if we go up into the top there, into the toolbox, the first one there, toolbox. Okay, so like on here, that this website isn't about prostate cancer. It's about health, wider and also specific as well. If we do open up into the prostate, the next one down, right? If you click onto that, and then and just scroll it down and say that all of the text is bloke talk. And then as we go down and we have all of the resources, and we've also got video clips as well. Okay, if you just stop there, also down the bottom, and we have all of our supportive care tools, which is the Cancer Chat, the 0800 Cancer number, and the Cancer Connect. And this is a program in which is under development at the moment. So pretty soon, once we click on the Cancer Connect, it will open up to another video of one of our volunteers or somebody who's already been on their cancer journey for the last 7 years and is the volunteer. And so that the bloke just goes on it, puts in the information, and then they'll be called by a volunteer or somebody who's had that journey for that peer-to-peer support. We can get the clinical support of the 0800 number, and although, and our cancer nurses are absolutely fantastic, this stuff is on every one of our pages. And just above there, and you see this little finger there? That isn't because it's about prostate. It says click here. It's a mouse thing, so you click on that, and it goes into a video clip. And eventually we're going to have a lot more video clips. Video clips are from the family perspective and about how to look after mum and dad and so on and so on. If we can scroll back up again. And if we go into the toolbox again. Yeah, and so we link into some of the best information out there. Heart Foundation got some fantastic stuff about health and all of the sporting organisations, sexuality, and workplace life balance, mental health services, and so on. So it isn't. So basically, what we wanted to create was a place for blokes to go, and the information about men's health is in there, and it also links into other things. Can we go into the workplace? Okay, and just leave it there. And in there, what we've done is that all of the tools specific to the workplace, such as outdoor kits, SunSmart information, and you'll find in there. We've also got templates from for HR managers, health and safety managers, and owners of businesses. If they want to create a wellness program for their workers, that's the place that they can go to, all in one toolbox. Move to the next one, community tools. Right in here, what we've got is, because there's some fantastic initiatives happening out there, if we move down, open up the First Men's Initiative, if we click on here and we just scroll down, and we've got some fantastic, okay, all the information about the USOR link, you'll find on here under USOR. Can we click on that page? Yep. And this will take us, and this gives us the explanation about it, and also the link into that website. And so, and if you need any of the dates or any of the information or the blog, you'll find it on here. And can we go back one, please? I just want to end another one. I just want to show this other one. And can you open up the bottom one, the Safaris? And now, has anybody heard of this one here? Okay, can you open up that page? This is awesome, and this is an initiative down at Christchurch, in New Zealand Engineer Department. One of the blokes had bowel cancer, and so their mates thought, "Hell, actually, we should raise awareness around this." And so they put together a scooter track on the 50cc scooters, because then they reckon, and so they left Christchurch and went over the Alpine track over around at Motueka where they got the big roundabout, and went round and round and round and roundabout. Started off with about 30 scooters doing it, dressed up as Batman and so on, and raised about 7,000. The last one, on May 26th, they raised 250,000. And they had something like 350 riders dressed up as Elvis, different ones, but it's just their fun awareness. But it was, in the rationale around it is that the bloke said, well, if our mate's going to have a pain in the ass, and so are we. Get it? So it's all that tongue-in-cheek humour. And although cancer and health is all really serious, man, we need to lighten up a bit. And can we take it back? And that's why in the website it just has some real funny stories and if we go back into the pages, so that's the community tools. Also on there, we have a lot of. Okay, if we go to the family tools and just put the mouse on the family tools, yep, there. And so they're all. The great thing about Cancer Society is we have some of the best information and pamphlets out there, plain English, really well understood. We have it in Māori, we have it in Samoan, we have it everywhere, but it's quite difficult to find. So what we've done is we've found those tools and we've found a place for them in all of these things. And eventually, we're going to have a lot of video clips in there because it's all about people's stories, as we saw from the last session. And blokes would rather watch something that's really quick rather than read a whole lot of stuff like that. If we move to the personal tools, this is where we have all the tools for us and to help us to lose weight and so on. And if we go over to the resources. And what we've also found is that we've got some doctors on board as well, in which we can send an email to. We also have resources there for Māori men, for Pacific men, and for gay men. Now, this bloke here with his arms folded and like this, and don't tell anyone, but not only is he a doctor, but he's from Australia. And that's the way how we're bringing everybody into the fold. Is that what we're doing is we're sourcing all the very best stuff and we're just putting it onto this one site because Dr. George here he's also gay and he's got an awesome blog and you can send him any question and he'll answer any questions. It's very, very good. And he's also had an experience of mental health, of depression, and he's quite a good champion. And can we just click on to meet the blokes? This is just a collection of the video clips in which we've got. We were gifted an awesome video camera as well, and so that in the next 6 months we're going to have a huge collection of video clips or stories from a different perspective, whether it's talking about from a caregiver's perspective, but just kind of hints and help like that. And if you go back to the homepage again. Because that's about it. Right, and so basically if you can log on here and just bookmark it and also like it on your Facebook, because we also have a lot of competitions as well in which we can just to let you know when things are going to be updated. But this is our start point of our men's health and get the tools. Although Movember funds us around prostate cancer, it's an opportunity, is there for us, we can't only focus on that one particular. It's about men's health, it's about our women, our partners, our children, our communities, our workplace and everybody, and it goes wider than just prostate cancer in our care. So we are moving forward, and if you can just scroll it down to the bottom again. Yep. And so they're our main stuff in there, and our partners as well with Movember and with Mental Health Foundation. And the good thing about this process is that in the community we're linking in with existing men's groups, men's sheds organisation, mates. There's plenty of them out there, so it's us connecting with them and supporting them. Just like we've had the opportunity to support some of these community initiatives, we're doing the same thing. Yeah, and that's time. Okay, thank you.